Did you get that? Okay, so what the governor was saying is he doesn't understand that the president of the United States back in October took monoclonal antibodies and how it worked. We've had this for the better part of 18 months, the idea that there are therapies that are out there. And what he says is, why, if you have an effective treatment like monoclonal antibodies, that the governor has to set up places for you to be able to get this? Why would you not be talking about it? And he thinks that one of the reasons is that they didn't want people to think, okay, that maybe you don't need to get vaccinated. Maybe you just need a treatment. That there are people that don't want to hear the fact that now what we know about the vaccines is that, as people have said, and this is other people, it's not me making this up, this is doctors that have said this, that the vaccine seems to work more like a therapy than anything else. Just like a monoclonal antibody is an option. You know, they're already coming out and talking about the third trial of a COVID pill, another option that there are going to be therapeutics that are going to be out there as well, that, you know, some of them we're not allowed to say, and you know what they are. But the point is that why would you do this? Is it because you wanted people to get out and get vaccinated and believe that that was the only thing that you can do? And what he was saying is maybe that's what it was all about. That if you started to talk about monoclonal antibodies and you started to talk about treatments, that maybe people would shy away from the vaccine and say, okay, well, I've got an option here that I can do instead, a therapy that could be used as a prophylactic and something that can also be used in case I get it early on in your COVID, in your positive COVID case. Just asking the questions, everybody. That's all this is. It's just asking the questions. There's no reason why we can't ask questions. That's all this is. The governor brought it up. I'm sure after this weekend, because there's a lot of other stuff that's going on, he is going to get just bashed, of course, because it's the governor and that's what's going to happen. But you know that that's probably going to be the case. And so, again, I'm just asking why we can't have the simple conversation about therapies and why certain things weren't used early on, knowing full well how effective Dr. Fauci saying 70-85% monoclonal antibodies and effectiveness, the efficacy of it. And that would be a horrible thing. To think that there were experts, that there are people out there right now who could have given people monoclonal antibodies, for example, and other things that we've brought up, other therapies, to help to make sure that they don't get to hospital or they aren't going to be affected by it worse than would be the case otherwise, because you want to try to continue to make the case about vaccines, and you've got passports. I'm watching video just a couple of minutes ago. I was combing through my Twitter account. I'm watching French police beating a woman who entered a mall without a vaccine passport. That's where they are in Europe in some places, the way Australia's locking down. I'm looking at this right now. It's unbelievable. They're beating her. They're beating this woman because she's not wearing a mask. I mean, just because you're saying it's going to happen over there, it'll never happen here, doesn't mean that that's going to be the case. You just have to be aware of it. And especially when you have Texas, where, here, let me play some of this audio for you. Listen to this. That is a stadium filled with people getting ready to watch some college football this weekend. And that is the sound of freedom, everybody. That is people getting together, 50,000 plus in a stadium to enjoy a college football game. And all the people that are going to be beside themselves because they're going to see all of this and they're going to ask the question, who are the problem makers? Who are the troublemakers? Who are the ones that we have to watch out for? Who are the ones that we have to dismiss? Who are the ones that we have to be careful of? Who are the ones that we have to look at, for example, and say, they're the American Taliban? That would be you. That's not my words. Again, that's Jim Acosta this morning. Here we go. Again, this is why, even though I'm going to be off tomorrow and Tuesday, quite frankly, I just can't wait. I can't handle it. I have to talk to you about this because it drives me crazy. Here's Jim Acosta talking about, instead of the Taliban, it's the MAGA ban. That's his words. A combination of theocracy and thugocracy. This is where we're going, everybody. Listen to, I know you're not, this is the thing. You don't listen to Jim Acosta and CNN. You don't listen to CNN at all. Most of the country's not listening to it. I get that, but somebody's got to talk about this, so that's why I'm bringing this up. Listen to this.
Unfortunately, what we will tell them is that some members of the far right in this country have apparently decided they will resort to intimidation and, in some cases, even violence to get what they want. And they could sweep into power faster than the experts thought possible. Sound familiar? Sort of like an American Taliban.
Sort of like an American Taliban. That is Jim Acosta, who goes on to talk, and I know it's probably hard to hear, but that's this morning. The far right, not Afghan refugees posing a threat to democracy. See, here's what they're trying to paint. They're trying to paint a picture right now on some of the things that we're hearing about the Taliban, and that I'm going to get to in just a second, about how certain law firms put hundreds of people unvetted into U.S. airlift, where Americans were left behind, SIVs were left behind, people that we knew were left behind, but there were some DC law firms that put unvetted Afghans onto planes and took their place and sent them back to this country, and not having been vetted, that we're just supposed to assume that everybody is who they say they are, not to mention some of the things that are going on with regard to child brides and the concerns about child trafficking that we've got going on. Yeah, that story's out there as well. But there's Jim Acosta, who wants to tell everybody that we're going to have the American Taliban, and oh, by the way, it's you Trump-supporting insurrectionists, conservatives, liberty-loving. I'm not kidding. These are the things that he laid out in his, instead of Taliban, it's MAGA ban. Yeah, that's what he's leading up to right now. There are people who listen to that and believe it and run with it, and that's dangerous, the things that they're doing and saying these things. You've got this law firm that I talked about. This Biden Afghan evacuation, Breitbart's got the story, was so chaotic that an immigration law firm in D.C. inserted hundreds of unidentified and unvetted Afghans from a regional Afghan city into the main processing center in Qatar. Nobody knows who they are, but they're here now. And the fact that they're on a plane, what's going to happen next? Why did the vetting process become this way? The fact that we're supposed to, or the point that we're supposed to, just listen, trust us. When we tell you everything is fine, no, everything is not fine. We know who we should and shouldn't trust at this point. And dare I say, unfortunately, we've got a problem trusting politicians, trusting those in the media that are telling us that everything is fine, that you're the problem, and really the American Taliban is all you MAGA supporters. You can smell the fear in the air of losing an election in 22 and 24, regardless of who the candidates are. Which, by the way, locally, we better get on stick here. We better get going when it comes to people that are going to be out there who are going to. And thanks for a couple of people who are saying, the fact that I'm, watching CNN. I know, and it's a weekend. That's the really weird thing. But again, as I get to the point that locally, we've got to make sure that we keep an eye on that too. The fact that locally, when it comes to school board and other races, boy, we better have some competent people up there. We just can't put a toaster oven against these people and assume that everybody's going to vote for them. Even though the toaster oven probably would do less things wrong. Did I say that out loud? Yeah, I did. Okay. So you've got Representative McCall, who's being asked by Chris Wallace just a little while ago, are Americans being held hostage by the Taliban on 6 planes in Afghanistan right now? Listen to this.
Since we left the country on Friday, how many Americans have gotten out of Afghanistan since we pulled out? How many Afghan allies have gotten out since the Taliban was in complete control of the country?
I understand. 0. And in fact, we have 6 airplanes at Mazar Sharif Airport, 6 airplanes with American citizens on them as I speak. Also with these interpreters, and the Taliban is holding them hostage for demands right now. Wait
a minute. This was just a couple of hours ago, Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace. Are you telling me right now that the Taliban, the brand new Taliban 2.0, and the ones that we should be worried about is the American Taliban, which is MAGA supporters, Trump supporters. That's who Jim Acosta, tells us we're supposed to be worried about. But no, not the Taliban. The Taliban, the new 2.0 Taliban, the one that we're all supposed to love right now as we speak, is preventing the departure of at least 6 airplanes filled with American civilians and allies for demands of what? They're holding them hostage for demands. State has cleared the State Department has cleared the flights The State Department, who is giving this country right now fits, the one that has been giving us the most trouble in this case. So the State Department has cleared the flights, and the Taliban's not going to let them leave the airport. I thought everything was fine with them. I thought they're not the ones to worry about. What do they want in exchange? Well, I don't know. What did he say? All right, let it go. Let's see.
The state has cleared these flights, and the Taliban will not let them leave the airport. So I'm sorry, the answer to your question is zero. And that's my concern, is they're going to demand more and more, whether it be cash or legitimacy, as the government of Afghanistan.
So they want more legitimacy as the government of Afghanistan. What does that mean? So we're still waiting for an answer. Just the News had the story here, the prevention of the 6 planes, and everybody's still waiting for an answer here. So I thought everything was supposed to be fine, everybody. What are they doing? And where's the vice president? Anybody? I mean, Joe Biden, we know, is taking a vacation right now. He's back taking a vacation. Where's the vice president? Is she going to be doing anything here? No, nothing new, nothing to see here. So we have that we have to deal with. We've got out of control teachers that it continues. Here we go from a woke math teacher. I don't know where this person is exactly. All I know is it another teaching activist who wants to explain to you how only 1 plus 1 equals 2 to white people. Here you go. You ready for this? Here we go.
A lot of people take great offense to the idea of white privilege, and so let me just quickly explain something to you. 1 plus 1 is 2. So if you are white, 1 plus 1 is 2. And so you automatically assume that for anybody else, let's take black people, 1 plus 1 is also 2. But that is not the math problem that they're working with. They're literally working with 1 plus negative 20 equals negative 19. Both math problems are correct, but if you don't have the right factors, you're going to assume that the answers are the same. They're not the same. Some people think that being called out for white privilege means that 1 plus 1 equals 8. It doesn't. You don't have an absurd advantage in that your numbers magically equal more. It's just you're not working with the same problem. Literally, 1 plus negative 20, you have to have 22 ones to equal the 1 plus 1 equals 2.
I don't know what to say about that, if you could hear it, but it's out there. And it is a teacher who's trying to explain that 1 plus 1 is only 2 for the white people, and for marginalized people, it's something completely different, and it's a minus 19 and a 20. And I couldn't, yeah. So don't tell us that isn't out there as well. That's something else we have to keep an eye on. I'm not going away from that topic. I'm just not going to do it. And then obviously some of the other things that are going on that I'm continuing to watch. Just a couple of hours ago, we come to find out that the Chinese military is now sending 19 aircraft into Taiwan's air defense zone. That includes some with nuclear-capable bombers. Nothing to really be worried about. Everything's going to be fine, because if anything happens with Taiwan, you know that this president's going to stand right up and tell them that we are going to do what? Go on vacation? Eat some ice cream? What about that? How the world has changed thanks to this president. Oh, and on top of that, oh man, let me see if I can get this audio up. Is this working? Hold on. Okay, there you go. And here we've got now the concerns about what's going on in California, where they are sweating bullets right now in California, because the idea of having a Republican as governor means a lot of things. And the reason why one of the big issues is happening right now in California was mentioned by Larry Elder, who's running for the governorship of California on the Republican side, that the concern of the left right now, this administration, why Elizabeth Warren and the vice president's on her way down to California to kind of campaign for Gavin Newsom, is because we've got Dianne Feinstein, who's kind of MIA right now. Nobody knows where she's at. She is, the talk is that her cognitive abilities have been declining. She's, 80, is she 88 right now? She's going to be, again, up for re-election in 24, which means she'll be, 91 years old when she's up for re-election. If she kept her full term, she'd be 97 years old. You see where I'm going? So what happens is, if something happens to Dianne Feinstein in the next couple of months, or 6 months, or the next time we have another race there for governor in the state of California, and you have a Republican who is the governor of the state right now, and Dianne Feinstein now cannot do her duties anymore, and something, God forbid, certainly happens to her physically, that the governor gets to choose and gets to have a say in who that senator is going to be. And boy, does that tip the scales on a lot of stuff leading into 22 and 24. Hello? So that is a huge deal, and that's why there are people out there. I'm not even going to play the audio of Elizabeth Warren, but let's just say she said, consider what we've seen in Florida, a Republican governor wwho wants to bring public schools to their knees and cut off funding if they try to keep our children and our teachers safe by wearing masks. That's what Elizabeth Warren said. Of course, she's not really telling the truth about the money being cut off. We're not talking about, the governor's not stopping funding for schools. It's a whole different thing. And also it is interesting, Stephen Miller pointed out that you have a senator from Massachusetts who's campaigning in California against a governor in Florida. That just about spells it out. All right. Look, I've talked enough for today. I may come back again tomorrow. Yeah, I know there are people that are having a problem hearing that audio that I was playing. Oh, you could hear me breathe more than you could have heard the audio. Okay, listen, it's something, I gave it a shot, but that's all right. So you get the idea, hopefully. Yeah, they're hearing virtually nothing out of the audio clips. That's too bad. All right. Well, I gave it a shot. So anyway, I appreciate you all being here. I know there's a few of you that took a time out of your holiday weekend. I'll get this thing posted up and fix all the audio clips so you can hear them better in just a couple of minutes. All right, listen, have a great weekend, and then I will just see you.